Hello everyone and welcome to this week's watch list review, or preview, I should say. Um, didn't have a lot on inside weeks. There were some that had decent charts, but they have earnings like Tuesday, Wednesday, and I want to try to avoid those. Things can get a little bit quirky when you have earnings coming up that soon, and maybe not necessarily follow the charts. Usually the charts precede the run, but whichever direction it's going to go. But um, you could have a little bit of a run up and then suddenly sell off. You know, buy the rumor, sell the news type thing. So I try to avoid those. So we have a couple here for inside weeks, and then another scan I do is a 2 up with a red close. It's still a 2 up candle, but it closed bearish for that week. So that could indicate a potential reversal. So I have a couple on there. And I put these XLE and XLF, just something to keep an eye on. So let's take a look at some charts here. First one's going to be Mara. And I don't have a lot of experience trading this, but we'll take a look. On the year, it's been a really good on the year. Pretty good on the quarter here. Actually, really good on the quarter, off of 2-1 continuation. On the month, we're on a 2 up on the month. We've had several 2 ups in a row, although last month was red. Looking really good on the month. And on the week, we have an inside week. The previous week was more of a shooting star, but we kind of, I don't want to say rebounded because it's still an inside week with a spinning top, but it's green. And we have earnings on the 11th, so that gives us a week and a half before we see earnings. Plenty of time for this week's watch list. So we're looking for a break above this past week's high, 55.29. Target one is going to be 56.48. Now I realize that's only a little over a dollar move, but that's an all-time high, so we don't have anything else to go off of on that. I believe that's an all-time high. 55.75 is an all-time high. So we do have a target there at 55.75. Let me put that in there. T2 inside, week up. So we have that as a target, and then beyond that, we're looking at, you can see right here, I'll put T2 here. What was that, 57.75. Further targets are going to be broadening formations, moving average, supports broken on lower time frames, or reversal candles on lower time frames, whatever you're comfortable with doing. So you can see we have a broadening formation here. We have a broadening formation here. You can go down to, if you look at the weekly chart, that's where I drew this broadening formation from. I usually draw my broadening formations from the weekly charts. You can go down and draw it from maybe the 4 hour. 4 hour would be from here to here, and you could draw it from here to here, or even here to, I think this is actually lower, so it'd be here to here. So that's what I mean by broadening formations on a lower time frame. So that's Mara. Beyond, I don't have much experience trading that one either, but let's take a look here. I have it going either direction. It's setting up a shooter on the year. The quarter, it's not looking good on the quarter. It's a 2 down. The month, it's been pretty ugly the last few months, but it did start to bounce here in the last couple of weeks. Actually, just this week here, it started to bounce this past week. On the week, we have an inside week, but it did bounce. So it may do one of these, and next week drop right back down again, or we may go ahead and bounce. Earnings is on the 10th, so we have about a week and a half on it. So We have some time on that one to trade it this week. If we break to the upside, I'm looking for a break of 101.52. Target one's going to be 106.76. There are plenty other targets you can find that you can look for. This is a gap fill. Beyond that, you're looking at up here around about right around 110. After that, you're looking up 114, 115.50-ish. I didn't put those in there because we get this gap fill. The way this thing's been so wishy-washy, I wouldn't even say wishy-washy. It's been bearish for quite a while, and this week happened to bounce. So it's still a bearish chart. We may see this thing pop up right here. I would give it a little bit of room. We're looking at a break of 101.52. I'd maybe even look at a break of 102 before I jump in, just to be sure that they're not going to just pop it up here. Steve Nissen calls that a crack and snap. If it cracks above a resistance level and snaps right back, he calls it a crack and snap. We want to make sure it's not a crack and snap where it just barely breaks that and then all of a sudden shoots back the other way. So I'd look at a 102 break before I would enter this one. On the downside, we're looking for a break below, if we look at last week's low, break below 92.42. We come down to the daily chart to pick up some targets. We're looking at 91.55. Then we have to go way back here to, we're going way back. In fact, this chart doesn't even go back. Oh, you know what? I think I did use a weekly to find a previous. Yeah, I did. I stayed on the weekly because I couldn't get the daily to go back that far. We're looking at the low of this candle, which is 88.51. And then the low of this candle, which is $76. Quite a bit of move. So I'm not looking for targets beyond that. Get it? So I'm not looking for targets beyond that. That's a huge move if we get to there. So that's it for the inside candles. Now the two up with the red close. I'll show you what those candles look like. If you look at the weekly chart, it's a 2 up. This is a 2 up because it broke the high of the previous candle. It's a 2 up, but it's a red close. And this is actually almost a shooter here. I think it's actually called a gravestone doji. But either way, it's an indecision candle that leans more bearish. So I'm going to look for something to the downside on this. If it breaks below the 118.60, that'll actually form a 2-2 reversal to the downside. We can come down to the daily to look for targets. So if we break this, this is a little bit of a target here, but I ignored that one. Target 1 is 116.26. Target 2 is 115.42. Target 3 is 114.47, and target 4 is 111.37. You can go down further. This could be a target. This could be a target, and then this could be a target. This quite a bit of move here, so I don't know that we'll move that much, but that's what I have for targets. Bank of America. I don't like trading the banks. They don't seem to move. They move pretty slow. What I don't like, and the same thing was with AMD, very bullish on the yearly chart, very bullish on the quarterly, very bullish on the monthly, but on the week we're kind of looking at, we got a doji on the week. This thing may go higher, may break above and go higher. If it does, I'm not really interested in trading it. I'm not saying it's not tradable. I'm just saying that it's not something I don't really have any targets, and I don't like to trade without having a target. You can get in and do the same thing, like I said, use moving averages, as stops. Use broadening formations. You could draw a new broadening formation on this, going from here to here on the weekly, going from what's a low 42.33, 42.23. So that wouldn't work, but you could draw a broadening formation from here to here, but I don't like that steep of an angle. But you have one there. You could draw one here. I don't like drawing too many of them because it just gets really cluttered up and kind of hard to see. And you don't necessarily have to pair them up. But, this one doesn't necessarily have to go with this one. Just remember that the lines are there. It's more of a trend line. But I like to use the broadening formations rather than a trend line, because the trend line could go down or up. And the broadening formations just seem to be a little bit more predictable. So anyway, we're looking at a break below 47.03 with target 1 of 46.61. Target 2 is 46.05. At target 3, we enter into a gap at 45.36. Target 4 is going to be a gap fill at 45.10. Target 4 is all the way down here at 43.48. If you want to, you can come down to this one here, which is the high from way back here on August 26th. So there's different targets you can use beyond that, but this is going to be a pretty big move. This is going to be almost a 10% move if we get all the way down to here. So that's it. That's all I have for the weekly. Now I do want to show the XLE. If we look at the XLE, you could trade the XLE if you look at the weekly. If it drops below 57.12, which is the low of this candle, we're looking at a 2-2 reversal. If you don't want to trade the XLE, you could keep an eye on XOM, CVX, ConocoPhillips, and Schallenberger. Those are for the main tickers that are within this index. So you could look at those. If we do break below this, look at one of those for an entry on the short side or a put. Same with the XLF. The XLF's a little bit better of a chart. The XLE, if you look at the XLE, go back to it, look at all these gaps. I guess it's not, right here we have a lot of gaps. It's not too bad. Back here we have a lot of gaps. If you're just trading it intraday, you're fine. I don't really like trading. Look how choppy this is. Choppy's not the right word. All the gaps, it's not a clean, you know what I mean? It's not clean. Just a lot of gaps, and those gaps, if it gaps against you, it could gap pretty far. This gap here was 80-cent gap, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's not a lot for Apple or something like that, but when you're looking at the XLE, 80 cents is quite a bit. I mean, the average true range on this is only $1.20, so you're almost gapping your whole entire daily range, potentially. So I'm not saying you can't trade the XLE, but if you don't want to trade the XLE, we'll look at the weeklies. Same thing, looking for a break below 57.12. Oops, that's XLE. Let's go back to the XLF. There. Same thing on here. We're looking at a 2-2 reversal below 39.92. This one isn't quite as choppy, as gappy as the XLF or the XLE. Looking for a break below this for a 2-2 reversal. And you could also look at the JPM, the Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. You could look at those. See if any of those offer any entries on the downside. So that's all I have for the weekly for this week. Quite a bit more than I did last week. Last week we only had 2 symbols on there. But this is stuff I looked at last week too. I looked at 2 up with the red close. I also looked at 2 down with the green close for something to reverse to the upside. There was nothing on here that I liked that either didn't have earnings or just didn't have a good chart. I also looked at RevStrats, a 1-2-2 reversal, and I didn't see anything I liked there either. So this is what I have for this week for the weekly chart. I'm going to do the monthly chart here for November as soon as I get done with this video. And thanks for watching, and hope everyone makes money this week. See you later. Bye.